Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are in another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Episode number 9. Zero.
9-0.
9-0.
Okay.
Huh? Man, Pete, you're getting old.
How's that?
90.
90.
90.
Oh, I stopped counting at 67.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. This is a special episode.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second.
Something happened yesterday.
So, well, that's what I wanted to talk about, because the last couple of weeks I've had an identity crisis. Like, what should we call me, right? I mean, it was $100 bill, and then it was, what was it, Dealmaker Bill. Now what is it?
There was another one, Dealmaker General? Or
Oh, I wanted to be Dealmaker Absent Bill.
Oh, Absent Bill.
Yeah, or something like that. I wanted to
From afar.
From afar.
Wow.
Yeah. But now I have reasons.
But now Destiny has chosen you for something else.
Destiny has showed up.
No, it's not Destiny that showed up.
No, it was Max.
Destiny named Max.
So for those of you that follow my emails and all the ranting and the meetups and the podcast, Jessie had her baby yesterday. And if you're on Facebook, Emma's going to put a picture up while we're talking for a couple minutes. There he is, little Maxwell Aaron DuPonte. He has made his grand debut.
I like how it's overlaid where you normally are sitting. So that's like, that's Bill's successor.
Let's just put it this way, okay? I have, as we all know, I have 2 wives. I have an ex-wife and a new wife, and she's not new. She's been around 18 years at this point. And I have 2 daughters and 2 sisters. This has broken the food chain. There is some more testosterone in the family. Yay, Max.
Thank God for boys.
That's right.
Carry on the family name and all that.
He was born on March 28th at 3:35 p.m. 3:35 p.m. 3:35. Emma's telling me it's 4:35.
What does it say on the birth certificate?
It was 3:35.
3:34.
Oh, 3:34.
Jesse posted 34. Don't argue with the mother.
I was there.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying it was 4:35. Anyways, it was 3:35 p.m. He was 7 pounds, 14 ounces, and everybody is extremely healthy. He's just adorable. They had their first night together last night, and my little girl is now an official woman and a mom. She's done it.
Mm-hmm.
She's done it. She's had a baby.
Another generation in your family.
Another generation.
Notch it down one.
That's right.
Wow.
So it's very cool. So I've been getting a lot of texts and messages, so thank you for all of you that are supporting me and my family and us. But I only have one question, Pete.
Yes, Bill.
When is this little son of a gun that's hanging around getting rent-free going to start being on the jobs doing some renovation?
I know. They're slackers. They just sit around for years.
I mean, he got 9 months rent for free so far. I mean, how long is this lease? I mean, what's the deal here?
Well, I mean, I think that's part of the deal. Like,
Bill,
I'll buy it. I'll take the baby.
No, you start taking the baby with you.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Well,
and it helps with the negotiations.
Yeah,
I have this grandson, and isn't he cute? When you build rapport because you've got this adorable grandson.
Is that what it is?
Then if you can't show up, you lend it to Naomi. I'm a single mom. I really need the job. I'm on my own.
I like that idea better.
I'm on my own.
And then if I can't show up, then you can say, I'm taking care of this, charitable. I don't know. You can think of some
new
fun
business
story.
We got Rent the Max. Give offers as a single mom.
There is an actual business, I believe, where people will rent their children to men because women like men that have children.
See. Well, first of all, it's kind of odd that somebody would do that. What's even more weirder is that she knows that.
Well, she watches out for men with babies like that.
What does Naomi do on her spare time when she finds things like this?
Naomi,
I'm the broker.
Yeah. Naomi, keep it to men with puppies, not babies. It's good enough.
I was just thinking if all that works, then never mind.
Granted, there's some heavy screening going on here.
That'll be episode 91.
So, yeah
101.
moving right along.
Next year.
So today's episode number 90. Emma told me that I was a little bit, what was the word she used? Forward or blunt or what was it with my title today? But we are going to rant today. So if you like us ranting, and it's going to be good today. Today's going to be good. Actually, I don't even think I want to use the word rant because that's not true. We're going to expose some really cool stuff today.
Draw back the curtain.
We're going to draw back the curtains today.
We're going to open up the treasure chest.
The treasure chest.
And you're going to like what you see.
Actually, it's not going to be the treasure chest. It's going to be a few coffins.
Okay.
Even more interesting.
Yeah. Episode number 90, Battling the Real Estate Mafia. Dun, 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 dun. I was thinking about having Emma play some music right now, but we didn't have time this morning. We actually have new sound equipment we had to test this morning, and we're still not quite through that sprint yet, but I think you can all hear us better now anyways, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I can't. My headphones don't work. Oh, did I say that out loud?
You did.
I was being sarcastic. That wasn't good. Episode number 90, Battling the Real Estate Mafia. Here we go. Here's the description, Pete. Are you listening? Huh?
What? Naomi,
you're the only
tell me what Bill says.
You're the only Italian in the room.
That's right. That's why I'm like, what do you mean mafia? What are we talking about? Oh, real estate. That's okay.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right, here we go. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to break into the real estate investing industry so you can make real and consistent money? Well, you may not know this, but the real estate industry is actually an organized group using a controlling influence and actually extorting fees and information from us so that most of us can't be part of this secret society of success.
He
said that you can't be part of the secret society.
I'm
just interpreting.
Thanks for translating.
Yeah.
I'm up to here with secret societies, by the way. One more, I think I'm going to snap. I did this to get away from the secret societies, Bill.
I read that he turned colors. All right, let me finish
Purple,
reading it.
green,
the secret society says,
black.
You may think this is being cute on words. You have to listen to this podcast to really understand how severe it is and how much it affects this industry.
That is so true, because the last meetup we had, every time you said something, somebody go, yeah, but, and it was completely opposite. The status quo line that you have to do this and you have to do this and you can't do that. But what's the what's the agent going to say? What's the bank going to forget? Yeah, right. Remember?
Yeah.
It's like
sure,
but you can't. It's just crazy.
Sure.
So let me read it all one time and then we'll march on. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I was thinking of some kind of funny thing to say, but I'll keep my humor to myself.
Well, after we march on, then we're going to April on next week.
Oh, Jesus.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Moving right along. Remember, content. We're looking for content. Stop with the humor, guys.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed...
What humor?
Sorry. She's doing her job. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to break into the real estate investing industry so you can't make real and consistent money? Well, you may not know this, but the real estate industry is actually an organized group using a controlling influence and actually extorting fees and information from us so that most of us can't be part of this secret society of success. You may think this is being cute on words. You have to listen to this podcast to really understand how severe it is and how much it affects this industry.
Thank you.
That's the podcast.
Okay.
I'm only joking.
Tune in next week.
I got to check my humor this morning. So let's start off this way. So I've talked about this in the last couple podcasts, but we're going to elaborate on it today. So when you go to a real estate closing, how does it actually work? And it's not actually a question. It's just something I want you to pose in your mind. How does it actually work? Right? So let's talk about it. So the real estate agent brings the buyer.
Yep.
Right? They don't do anything more than that. We're going to talk about this in great detail, but they bring the buyer. That's their responsibility, is to bring the buyer. Right? The banker, his responsibility is to what? Bring the money.
The dough.
Right? And then you have the attorney or the closing agent. His responsibility or her responsibility. When I say his, I'm not being gender specific. So his responsibility is to bring the paperwork and the documents, All right. And after doing this last night in the meeting, I'm going to change that. Yeah. So the attorney's actual responsibility is to bring the deed. A clean, warranted deed.
Sure, all the paperwork, all the documents to get to that point.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
So the attorney or closings agent is to bring the deed. They also bring the paperwork for the banker. Right? So we're gonna talk about that. Okay. So the title guy is just protecting the banker. They're protecting the seller too, because what title insurance does is if there's a chain of title, in other words, there's 10 people that had the title in their name because the house changed hands 10 times. Each one of those, that's called a chain of title, right? Because it means each owner was in that chain.
Right.
Right. And it's a chronological chain, right? So the title guy is there just protecting everybody, and then the insurance guy brings all the protection for everybody so that everybody can come to the deal and do the deal. Right. Now, I asked this question in the meetup last night. So, what's the purpose of the realtor being there, Naomi?
They're there. People think they're there to monitor the sale.
Right. But what's he doing at the closing?
He's there literally just showing up with the seller or the buyer.
What's the only reason why he's showing up at the closing?
He's protecting his check.
He's there to get his check, right? Okay.
He is.
So what is the banker doing there?
He's there with the money.
But what is he really there for?
He wants to get the loan.
He wants to get the
loan.
He gets a commission.
He gets
it's business.
No.
So
he wants his interest.
Yeah.
Right? So he wants a document so that you pay the interest. I mean, if you think about it, just follow the money.
I was going to say, it's just follow the money.
Right.
I mean, you think of, it's to buy the house. Forget all that. It's
right.
Who's getting paid. No one's going to show up.
It's
for free.
all about money.
Nobody shows up
for money.
So get that. So the realtor, why is he there?
He gets money by getting interest on a loan.
For his commission. No, the realtor. The realtor's there.
Realtor.
I start over. Let's start over. So the realtor's there to get what? His money.
Mm-hmm.
What's the banker there for?
His interest.
His money.
His interest money.
What's the attorney there for?
Get paid his money.
To get his if he brings the paperwork, he gets his money.
Mm-hmm.
What's the insurance guy there for? His premium.
Yep.
What's the title guy there for?
His fee.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all
what are
business.
We there for?
None of this is nonprofit,
Exactly.
you know. So
that'll be a funny one. Real estate nonprofit? No.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
So
well, sometimes it is if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a red.
Okay, so what does the seller get at the closing table?
Depends on what kind of seller that is.
Okay, it doesn't matter really, does it? When you say it depends on what kind of seller, why would it matter?
Because there's a seller that's there as an investment and the seller is getting a check. Sometimes the seller is just getting relief.
Okay.
Like it's a property that's burdening them. But it does all come down to financial. They're getting some sort of financial advantage.
So we're going to call that equity.
But not all properties have equity, Bill.
Okay. This is true.
However, they are getting relieved of their financial burden in that case. Like say if
so
it's not.
Let's talk about what you just said. Okay. So not all properties have equity.
True.
I'm not in agreement with that. They have positive equity and they have negative equity, but they have equity.
You're so right. You caught me.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make you wrong. I'm just trying.
You caught me.
I'm just trying.
So
to
I'm talking about positive.
I want to keep it really simple. So yes, you are right.
Yes.
So you are right. Not every property has positive
equity.
That produces a
but
check
if they
in
have,
your hand.
If they have negative equity, they want debt relief, right?
Yes, they're there for debt relief, but it all boils down to money.
It
this
boils
whole
down
thing.
to
We can call it equity solution.
Yes, equity solutions. I like the sound of that.
There you go.
So yeah,
the seller's there for what? Their equity, whether it's positive or negative. They're there for their equity. Okay, so who has the most on the table? I'm going to say the seller. Even if
the
there's
most what?
The most benefits.
Mm-hmm.
The most purpose.
Yeah.
the reason that wants the closing the baddest, or not the baddest,
it's the mostest.
the most.
The
There
most.
you go.
Most.
Yeah, the
Grammar
mostest.
check. The most.
The most.
No, this is even more than most.
Grammar check. I thought I had a relief. I mean, Jesse's in the hospital, not paying attention, so I don't have to worry about grammar checks. And then you show up. Pete, the grammar police are here.
Curses. Curses.
Foiled again.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so back to.
So, so think of it this way. I have this picture in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ever been to I know you've been to a bar. You ever been to a bar?
I have been
Right?
to a bar.
And you got those tables that are like a 3-foot round table that you stand
Yeah, and they're
up
tall,
at.
like the little
Yeah,
pub
they're tall
tables.
and they're
Yeah.
Tall chairs or stairs.
Everybody
Yeah, they're like
meets.
4 feet tall, and they're like 2.5 or 3 feet round.
Yeah,
And you kind of like meet at the table, and you
Yep.
stand there, and then the waitress comes and they put your drinks on the table,
Yes.
right? So you go off and you go dancing, or you go to the bathroom, or you go to the bar. But what do you always do?
You go back to the drink.
Come back to the table, because why? That's where everybody is,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a drink there, and you're there to have a good time, right? I mean,
Right.
You got together to have a good time, and everybody gathers around the table. That's the picture I have
Mm-hmm.
in my head, right? So why is the closing any different? People come to the table, that round table, because they're getting something.
They're all getting something.
There's an exchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the attorney or the closing agent is going to work on preparing the documents to do what? To exchange them at the table for his check.
That's correct.
So the realtor is going to prepare the buyer, right?
Yes.
So that when they bring them to the table, they get a check.
Correct.
And the way the realtor does that is making sure that the buyer is prepared to sign the documents, talk to the attorney,
Mm-hmm.
get insurance, all that kind of
They're
stuff.
not having any last minute snafus. Yeah.
And all they did was just have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
They didn't do the work. They just but the buyer
They usually do a walk through the property ahead of
Right.
time so that it doesn't come up afterwards. But
Right. Okay. So my point in this strange little drill that we're doing here is that so who's controlling the sale?
the
Who's
seller,
controlling the closing? Yeah.
the seller.
The least knowledgeable person in the circle is controlling, or is expected to control the closing.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't think they're supposed to be.
And they don't even know it.
Right.
They think that they go to the realtor, right? And the realtor is the consultant, right? They think, oh, when I hire a realtor, the realtor is going to do that for me. But they're not trained to do that. I know I went through realtor training, at least in Connecticut. They're trained,
Right.
and you are a licensed realtor.
I am.
And have you ever been trained to be a consultant?
I mean, in one sense, but not like you're talking about. There are some realtors out there that are real good.
Yes.
And whether or not they're supposed to be, they do step in and fill that role.
Okay.
But by and large, they're there, as you said, to get your check.
So what happens is a realtor training is all the training is about the purchase and sales contract and keeping the deposit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of legal ramifications to those two actions. So it's how you write the contract, right, and how you protect the deposit so that it comes at a closing and doesn't get spent along the way, right? Because back in the day, that's what they did,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there is no sales training per se, unless they do it in big offices. We're going to talk about that in a minute, right? So there is no sales training. There isn't any training on how to deal with the legal aspect of things, like how to deal with the attorney, their closing agent, and none of that. There is no training on the entire system, how it goes from start to finish. They just talk about the purchase and sales contract, and they talk about the deposit. And then there's like what you can and can't say. And then I found out by accident not too long ago that, at least in Connecticut, I don't know if I'm positive it's like this all over the country, But what they teach you in realtor school is that you have to protect the motivation of your buyer or seller. In other words, you do not disclose. It's actually considered an ethical slant or an ethical, what is the word I want here? It's like an injustice if you release the motivation of your buyer or seller.
Right.
It's like it's like you let the prey know, and you can now be killed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a common question. Why are you selling the car? Why are you selling that? Right. You know, is there something wrong with it? You got a problem, and then you have an advantage. Well, then if you're that desperate, you'll take less.
Right.
So it makes sense that they would do that.
I mean, you are supposed to disclose the condition of the property, but the motivation, you will get into a lot of trouble.
But what do I say all the time, Naomi? When I've been to hundreds of closings, or maybe not hundreds, I've had hundreds of closings. I've not been to that many of them because I don't go to the closings. I've never had a house show up and sign the documents. It's always been a person. And the person, like I said, we were just talking about it. Let's go back to the table. Had a reason to come to the table. You know? I mean, like we'll take you, for example. All right? It's Friday night and you want to go out. Yeah. Right? Now you're single and, you know, you're attractive and all that kind of stuff. Right? You're not just going to go out. Right? You're going to go home, probably take a shower. You're going to do your hair. You're going to put your makeup on. You're going to you're going to select your clothes.
There's a little bit of preparation that goes into it.
There is preparation. So
Absolutely.
You're just not coming.
Best foot forward.
Yeah, you're not just coming to the table like willy-nilly.
Right.
You know, there is preparation.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is no different. You know, there is preparation to come to the table. Right? So, I mean, why are they coming to the table? I mean, at the end of the day, they're coming to the table to get their check.
Yeah. Fiduciary advantage.
Unfortunately, our society thinks that when they hire a realtor, they're hiring a consultant, somebody that's going to walk them through the sale. Now, like you said, Naomi, you said that some realtors do it. So here's what happens. So if I were to build one bottle of water, if I were to create, design, and make one bottle of water and sell it, how many profits do I have? Just one, right?
Just one.
Okay. So once I figure out how to build it and produce it and get all the systems and procedures and how to sell it down, isn't it advantageous for me to scale up?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So they're going to bring in more realtors.
Right. So my point is that if once somebody the clever realtors, once they figured out, and there are plenty of them, but the clever realtors, once they figure it out, what they're figuring out, and they may not even know this, but what they're figuring out is if they consult the procedure, even though they're not getting paid for it, they realize that if they just consult and I'll constantly tell the seller, this is what's coming. Here's what's going to happen next. Get this ready, get that ready, because they're going to be looking for this. They're going to be looking for that.
Right.
Once they figure that out, those are your realtors that are doing 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 deals a year.
Because it does make a big difference. And there are, like I mentioned, realtors that do that, and they work to train the realtors that are under them to also do that. But it's a process, and it can't be a given that every realtor is doing that, because they're not.
Right. So the qualifying process would be, how many houses do you sell a year? Another qualifying process is do you have any assistants? Because like my realtor does, I mean, she did 71 houses last year.
Which is amazing.
But she has 2 assistants. Her husband's one of them, and then a girl in the office is another. Right? But they did 71 deals. She didn't do it by herself.
No.
So if I want to go, you know, if something has to happen at the house, she doesn't, like, for example, the house I just listed with her, okay, they needed a set of keys. So they took the keys out of my lockbox, right? And then that was on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And I had to have the electrician go in the house. Well, he needed to be in there for Friday. So I texted her and said, please make sure the key's back in the box. I got an electrician coming on Friday. Well, she said, yeah, her husband was going to go take care of that. It wasn't her.
Right.
So he went and made the keys, went to the house, put a key in the box, put a lockbox on the door, and then and she didn't do any of it.
They have to delegate.
Yeah. The husband does those things anyways.
Yeah. No, stop, Pete.
My
A
world
little
and
bit
your
of
world, too.
animosity
totally.
building up there.
No, it's just that's what the boys do.
Here comes the Italian part.
Sit and serve the
Well,
women.
there's a Mafia show.
They serve the women.
This is the Mafia show.
So-
Hey, that's just what we do.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
That's
There you
right.
go.
That's what we'll let you think.
And if you don't like it, Tony over here will take care of it.
That's okay.
Yeah, not good Mafia. So, so you get the point is that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why are we talking about this on our show?
We're talking about the mafia, the real estate mafia.
Yeah. So
is this really a mafia, or you just is this just a good programming?
yeah, no, it's actually what I'm calling organized. It's an organized group, right? That's what it is.
It sure is.
Real estate is an organized group. They have their way of doing things. Now here's the part that pisses me off to no end. This pisses me off every single day. In fact, I don't even get angry about it anymore because it happens so much that I'm actually flat on it.
So what is it? You've got to send pins and
Who makes the rules for this game?
Could be a lot of people, Bill. There's a lot of people involved in making the rules.
Who's controlling the puppet strings?
The U.S. government.
No, I'm not that much of a conspiracist. By virtue of following the money, the banker says, here's how we're going to do it. And then the realtor falls in behind him.
Right.
And then the attorney falls in behind him. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I printed, let me see here. I got to see which
Well,
document
who's
it
the
is.
banker working for, Bill?
Oh, that goes deep now.
Let's just not even
We're
go
not
there.
That goes
going
deep now. There's
Let's
books
just
about
stop
that
right there.
one. Yeah, that part we can't deal with. This part we can
No,
deal with. Yeah, but at the meetup we had last one.
Yeah.
But the bank. But what about the bank? We're not talking about the bank.
Let's,
that came
that's
out of
a
several
whole
people's
nother
mouth, right?
podcast that maybe we need private membership for.
Yeah.
You know, this is not
Secret
gonna be
handshake and
publicly.
everything.
Yeah.
So I wrote an email about this, and I actually wrote a blog about it. Well, I wrote a blog too, but which, by the way, I'm going to start blogging twice a week, sometime in the very near future. The podcast will be one blog, and I'm going to write a blog, so that means there's going to be 2 blogs a week. And if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, flippinghousesforrookies.com/blog. So I want everybody to get that it's flippinghousesforrookies.com. We changed our website. It's flippinghousesforrookies.com. But I'm going to read the email, okay? Is that okay? She's saying yes, but she's not saying it on the mic. So subject column, battling the real estate industry mafia. Okay? So here we go. Oh, man. Subscriber's name. You're going to want to pay attention today. Just imagine waking up at 2 a.m. with a bloody horse head under your sheets as a mafia sign of "Don't mess with me." How am I doing, Pete?
I'm just glad I'm the Italian here. I'm safe.
If you don't read this email, this could be you. Okay? So here's the truth. If you're doing conventional real estate investing, this is very much like dealing with the mob. Let me explain. The way these mob guys work is they help you when you are down and out and your back is against the wall. Then expect a favor in return later when they want it. And it isn't always something ethical and comfortable either, right?
What's wrong with that?
Now, and this is important, how is this any different than a realtor telling a potential seller that he or she can help them? Then once in the fold, always having to pay a favor back. So what does that mean? You got to pay a commission. You got to have the house ready when they want it ready. They tell you, oh, well, you should paint the window. Oh, you should change the kitchen counter. Oh, you should put a new rug in. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep, right?
Well, yeah, it's a give and take.
Yeah. So these are the little things that they do to you, right? Things like having an open house, which I just covered, which is so the realtor can gather leads for other houses than yours. It's not always about selling your house. letting the seller believe they are going to consult the seller through the sale when really they are only trained to find the buyer. Once they sign a contract, they turn it over to the closing agent. They're done. How about the banker? He makes the seller believe he is doing them a favor by lending the money so that they can get the house now, but in fact charges the seller 3 times the lent amount over a 30-year mortgage. And the banker made it legal. The mob gets arrested for this, and it's called racketeering. Huh? How does that work? How about the attorney or the closing agent? They pretend like they are protecting you from any type of lawsuit down the road. So many attorneys inject their let me do that again. They pretend like they are protecting you from any type of lawsuit down the road. Yet so many attorneys inject their opinions of how you should do the deal, so his buddies, the realtor, the banker, the title man, the insurance guy, can get paid too. That's the point of reading the email.
Mm-hmm.
Am I nuts? Don't answer that. or do you see it too? The damn real estate system is rigged, so the average person stays confused and can't make a fortune like the license guys do. Rant over.
Let's talk about that.
The rant?
Let's talk about the rant.
Go for it.
So,
what I like about it is just that you don't find anything about that until the end.
You interrupted me.
That's all I wanted to say. That's all I have. You got the rest.
Okay. Before the attorneys and before the real estate agent, before all of these people, what happened?
Exactly. You mean before they
existed?
Well, let's talk about when did they come on board.
Exactly. So let's go back. Let's go back to how it was.
Google it. The first realtor came around like early 1900s, 1906, 1907.
I mean, there's pros and cons to this. In one sense, they are protecting some things. For example, the real estate agent, because the real estate agent holds a license, if the real estate agent is not doing things appropriately.
Why does a real estate agent hold a license?
A real estate agent holds a license because they made an organization. I guess going back to what you said.
The real reasons why they're licensed is the same reason why a used car dealer is licensed. Because there was so much skullduggery and so much dishonesty, they had to regulate it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how the real estate business started off. They were stealing the deposits.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say. There is, yes, it's the good old boys, but at the same time, going back to how it was, like you just described, there was so much dishonesty going on.
Right.
And so I think the challenge is it's kind of like, okay, now it's honest and legal and everything's monitored, but it's still like you're still getting it's like highway robbery in some senses.
It's legal extortion.
Exactly.
So let's go back to realtors. So the realtors I think it was 1906 was the first realtor. Mm-hmm. Okay. And in September 13th, 1949, September 13th, 1949, they actually patented the word realtor.
Yeah.
In November or December of 1949, they created the Realtor Association. So that's when realtors started. Prior to then, they were just individual people. They were like, they were in a town and they knew that you were selling a house and Pete was looking for a house.
Right.
And they put them together
and
that's what they did.
Yeah.
They were the person that found you a buyer.
And they had to be intimidating sometimes to get their check.
Because there was no value for them at the closing table because for hundreds of years they weren't needed.
Right.
Let me give you another example of this, okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
Bottled water.
Bottled water.
For thousands of years we've been drinking water for free.
Yes.
Now we pay $1 for a bottle.
You can still drink water for free, Bill.
Just like you can still buy real estate without a realtor.
Well said.
How about this one?
That's good, huh? That's good. He's fast on his feet.
TV. When I was a kid, TV was free. How much do you pay for it now?
Yeah.
Well, I just go on to YouTube.
So you can still do it for free, right?
Yeah.
Just
It's
like
a little bit different, but
just like you don't need to have a realtor to do a deal.
right. Right. So open up your minds.
I'm not done yet.
Keep going.
Thank
right.
you. I just want to make the point
Mm-hmm.
that when those things happen, like cable TV,
Mm-hmm.
it's a monopoly, and they get away with it.
Mm-hmm. And just like cell phones and everything,
Exactly.
they get away with it for a little bit, and then
Then they get away with something
in
else.
America, and then something else creeps up,
Right.
and it kind of like blows it to pieces. So this is what we're doing here.
Right.
So we're blowing it to pieces in a good way.
So now I want you to realize that I think realtors have a great spot. I'm not like downing them, and I use them every day. They have their position.
Absolutely.
What I'm doing is just bringing to light that you just need to know what they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know the use of the tool you're using. I was an auto mechanic for the first half of my life until I was 35 years old. Okay?
Wow.
I was an auto mechanic. I was a great auto mechanic. I fixed a lot of things in a lot of cars. I don't use my hands now, but I did for a very long. That's how I made my original money. Okay? All I know is when I fixed a car, there was a specific tool for a specific job, and if you didn't have that tool, like for example, not to talk nomenclature cars, but if you had to replace a ball joint on the front end of a car, there was a tool to take that ball joint off of the car, and there was one kind of tool for a Chevy and another kind of a tool for a Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is that when something's as mechanical as an automobile, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And real estate is that mechanical thing. It is very mechanical. It is no different than removing a ball joint off of a 1972 Chevy pickup truck as opposed to a 2018 Mazda. There's it was put together, it was man-made, it was built. Think about it this way. When you come into this world, little Max came into this world yesterday, and he had his shiny little butt, and that was it. Now, what's going to happen to his life, we don't know yet. But when all of us came to planet Earth, there were not houses. There was not such a thing as real estate. We as human beings constructed them, board by board, nail by nail, piece by piece. So that is no different than building a car.
Mm-hmm.
It was mechanically built. So that means there is a way to understand it, because it is very, very mechanical. Very mechanical.
Break it down, Bill. Break it down.
And if you understand it, and that's all we're trying to do, is is just make that point today that it is very mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
Let me completely switch it, and then I'll get off my rant, okay? So if I were to say to you, Naomi, can you run upstairs and grab me a Q-tip? What would you bring me?
A Q-tip.
Okay. What would she bring me, Pete?
She would bring you a Q-tip. I would bring you a box.
Okay. See what I'm talking about? This is exactly what I'm talking about. What you would bring me is a cotton swab. Q-tip is a brand name.
Like Kleenex. Yeah, you're right.
Like Kleenex. Yeah.
Yep.
Can you go grab me a Kleenex?
Mm-hmm.
No, if I got a Scotty's, would you take that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when
the
you
branding
say
versus what
when
it
you
actually
say
is.
realtor,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact thing. It's just it's such a powerful word.
With a capital R.
Yeah.
Not
And
small.
trademark.
Yes,
That's
trademark. It's got the little R.
With the R, yeah.
Yeah.
Big R,
And
little R,
trademark.
circles.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's official.
That was mechanical. It was intended to be that way. It took 50 years to do it, but it was intended to be that way. They dominate the real estate transaction business. And you know what? There is not a single person that I talk to, and I know you guys know this because you sit in presentations with me.
Oh, yeah.
I think out of probably 100, I almost want to say 1,000, but I'm not going to be that verbose or that dramatic. At least 100 people. I bet you I'm lucky if I find one person that tells me that they like realtors and they had a good experience. Almost every single house. And it's not because of the houses we're sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we go seek out.
They can't all be bad.
Yeah, it's not like we go seek out just the it's not like we're conspiracists and let's go find people that don't like realtors and talk about just
Bill,
them.
some of these people have amazing realtors.
Yep.
Like that fellow that had a $300,000 house, and he said his realtor was going to sell it for $500,000 in 4 weeks in the dead of winter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to hand it to that.
Yes.
He liked his realtor.
Yes.
How long?
But he hadn't listed it with them. He was
how
talking to us. He hadn't listed it with them. He was talking to us.
Just a little bit of dry humor.
Yes. It's like a dry martini. Oxymoron. You're drinking it. How could it be dry?
Definition 6.
So there you go.
You know what's strange to me? There's Kleenex, but then there's other brands. There's 2 or more political parties. There's Coca-Cola, but then there's Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
There are different groups amongst the types of products you could be out there, but there's only like one realtor association. There isn't like these and those guys, those guys, like to choose.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost strange that it's all lumped into one big role. Like, that's it. Like, there's water. There's no 2 kinds of water. There's just water.
There's no competition.
Right. But there is other ways to do it.
Absolutely.
It's just not organized. There's a lot of
and
people.
they want to make really sure that the other ways to do it aren't, because right now, they're struggling with some things that really aren't talked about so much. And that's for sale by owner websites. And there's a lot of technology out there for sellers to sell things on their own, and they are concerned. They are
So
worried.
let's chat about that for 1 second. I hadn't thought this was going to come up because I actually want to move on, but I want to chat about that for a second. From a marketing standpoint, let's completely clean the slate and talk about something completely different for a second, but to make the point. From a marketing standpoint, because I run a marketing company, I own a marketing company. It's not as big as a real estate company, but Em and I do marketing, and I have clients and blah, blah, blah. So back in the day, which was, when I say back in the day, I'm only talking maybe 5 years ago.
Right.
If I wanted to write a book, how would that work? I would write the book. I would spend probably years, which, by the way, the last book I wrote in, I think, 30 hours. I wrote it in a weekend. I went to visit my sister on Labor Day weekend. I was there for 5 days, and I wrote a book.
That's great.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be long, but that's another story. Once you write the book, you go to the editor, give it to the editor gives it to the publisher, and it's like there's this very focused. So what happens if I bring it to the publisher and the publisher had a bad day, or let's say I'm writing a book on real estate and he had a bad experience with real estate? What's he going to do? He's going to poo-poo my book, right?
Sure.
So it's like this gateway is very narrow. Okay? All right, good. Let's talk about Sandra Bullock or Pete's paying attention now. Or Tom Cruise.
Suddenly
or what's the guy that played Rocky?
Sylvester
Stallone. Any one of those guys.
A celebrity.
Yeah, okay. So what's the guy that paid? He's the governor of California.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger. Any one of these guys to be at that status had to go through that little gate, right? They had to have somebody from the movies say, yes, we want you. We like you. And they had to get permission from somebody else to give their talent. Okay? All right, good. Now let's talk about the radio show. Right? If you want to have a radio show, what do you got to go through? The same process, right? You got to go through some sort of an evaluation or whatever you want to call it process, right? So that you could be allowed into their fold. All right? So you get all that? You get the point that I'm making here?
Got it.
Okay? TV's the same way, right? I mean, there's so many...
Everything.
Yeah.
Making records.
Everything in life.
Making
Any
records.
organization.
Making records is another...
Totally changed.
Right? So now what happens? The internet comes along, and now we have things like, instead of being on TV, you could be a YouTube star. You could just give raw information. It doesn't get altered
Right.
by the producer.
Or edited, yeah.
Or
It
edited.
is just raw
It's
and
what
in your
you
face.
want. We're doing it right now on the podcast, right? We actually, this is how I figured this out. Pete and I were on the radio. I paid thousands of dollars to be on the radio, and we were constantly monitor what we could say, what we couldn't say. And the stupid thing to me was they didn't even know who was listening.
Yeah,
They couldn't even tell us no
who
who
was
was listening.
working, people listening.
Wow.
Oh, we don't know.
They do a survey to ask people what radio station they listen to. That's how they know.
Seriously?
Once the Nielsen rating, whatever. There's ratings there once or
Wow.
twice a year.
Yeah.
But it's not very specific.
No,
you
not
can't
at
tell
all.
if you're doing a good job saying the wrong
Who's
thing.
listening,
How do
who's
you
watching.
adjust?
But yet
Yeah.
they're controlling the communication because they're saying you can't say this, you can't say this because it's all heavily regulated.
Wow.
All right. So Create Space, which is an Amazon thing. You can publish a book. It gives you ISBN numbers. You could do it yourself. I mean, if you do it once or twice, it takes a little while to learn it. But once you learn it, you publish a book yourself. You don't need a publisher. You can write a book and put anything you want in it and publish it.
Yeah.
Right? You see how it's working?
Oh, yeah. It's empowering the small man.
Right.
So now...
who's done this in real estate? Who's come along and said, you don't have to go to the gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
You can just do it on your own.
We're here, and there's other people. But it's not like this massive...
It's an underground organization. Kind of like the... not that they're underground, but kind of like the Masonics, the Masons, which I am one, so I'm not talking shit. But the Masons are for many years were like this underground association, and they had their rule, but they were labor guys. They were like the original union, right? When they first started, right? And now look, I mean they made it out like they came out of the closet, so to speak, right?
Right.
But who's doing that in real estate?
We are. Yeah. And there's a few others
there as well. We aren't the only ones. There are people that do what we do. So, and this is just what we were talking about the other day, right? We were actually, you and I had a lengthy conversation about it, and it's talking about why don't we create an association? Matter of fact, we got a bunch of people on Facebook right now. If you like this idea, give me a thumbs up or a heart or something. Make it go past the screen so I can see if you guys agree with this. We should create an association just like the association that realtors have for investors, so that we can go out there and actually be heard and actually have our own set of rules and be regulated by our own rules instead of somebody else's rules, right? It would be really cool. I guess nobody liked the idea because there was no hearts. Huh? Oh, okay. So, that's right. We're on a delay. So what I'm saying is that we actually came up even with a name with it. It was we're calling it an IREC. I like iPhone, like an IREC, and that's Independent Real Estate Consultant.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a whole nother story. So there we go. We got some of them now.
Well, okay. But that would make sense because every game has to have two sides.
Right.
It's hard to play a game alone. Right. How do you win? How do you lose? You just keep going.
Right.
But there has to be an alternative.
So right now, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not bashing the real estate industry, it's fine. It's just that, like you said, it's a monopoly. There isn't another opponent. There is another way to buy and sell real estate. It doesn't have to be the conventional way. It doesn't have to be with an attorney. It doesn't have to be with all those people. It doesn't have to be with the banker. That is a way to do it. It is a very stealthy, very safe, very honorable way to do it. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? And we do it all the time.
Right.
You know, we do our own tabletop closings. We do, and it's 100% legal. It's 100%
extremely
safe.
Legal.
Yeah. And there's no reason not to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to read, and this is part of the blog I wrote because we're coming down towards the end here. This is the blog I wrote, and I'm going to read it, or just read a couple sections here so we can move off into the next section here. Okay. So I put, but here's the shocker. Once I applied my marketing theories to the industry, the checkbook started to fill up like a lake with a natural spring in it. It never really got empty. I could write a whole book on this, but for now, let's look at the important points of how I made those hundreds of deals. These apply to each deal. So the first thing I did is I had to find the motivated seller to talk to. The second thing I did is once I found them, I had to match my message to the solution that they liked. Okay? And then the third thing I did is I had to now that I had their attention, I needed to know what was the bleeding wound that needed to be fixed. And then the fourth thing I did is I simply bandaged that wound and helped them out. And in the end, that would buy me a house.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
And I think you did more than bandage the wound.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually,
Go ahead.
Healed it. You brought a solution, an end solution, a full solution.
So that's correct. So then I put now I won't be able to go through the whole 4 steps today, but if you want to know how to do it, then just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com and I can show you how to do it. The point of this article is to start with step number 1, finding the motivated sellers to talk to. All right. So what I did is the article, which is not up, if you're going to go there today, it's not up today. We had Emma slacking. I gave her this job on Monday to do, and she has some lame-ass excuse like her sister was pregnant for 2 days and delivering a baby, and she couldn't get the blog up. What do you think? Should I accept that as a...
She was in the room the whole time? She was by her sister's side?
She did not leave her sister's side once.
I don't know. It's a tough call, Bill. The dad, the boss.
That is
the
not...
dad, the boss.
That is not a tough call. As both a boss and a dad, you say, fine, Emma. It's okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
We got the man's point of view and the woman's point of view. That was really interesting.
This is having babies is a woman thing. So let's just back away from it, Bill. Just back away.
Back away. Don't turn your back while you're backing away.
That's right.
So when she told that to me this morning, Em, get on the mic, Em, please.
Yeah, and I saw this.
So when you told me, what did I do? I did something that I never do, which was what?
You didn't say anything.
I shut up. So anyways, I'm only joking around. Of course, it's okay. So this blog should be up. If it's not up tomorrow, it'll be probably up by Monday. And it's called The Art of Finding the Best Real Estate Deals Possible by Weeding Out Suspects. And what I did is I wrote, the article's really cool. But at the end, I wrote a report, which you can download from the article. This is the only place it'll be. Mm-hmm. And the name of the report is How to Immediately Spot the 5 Most Powerful Disqualifiers That Make Real Estate Sellers Suspects and a Waste of Time for Investors. So there's only 5 of them. So basically, let me read it to you again. What are you laughing for?
Oh, just, I've, scenes going through my mind of some suspects and
yes.
it just.
So let me tell you the name of the report. It's How to Immediately Spot the 5 Most Powerful Disqualifiers. So that means there's 5 disqualifiers that I use on every deal that makes them a suspect. And when you use these 5 disqualifiers, you find suspects immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So
and move on.
You could talk to somebody for 5 minutes.
Yes.
And you can whack the suspect and move on. Okay? So it's how to immediately spot the 5 most powerful disqualifiers that make real estate sellers suspects and a waste of time for investors. So that blog should be up by Monday, or sometime on Monday. And in the article, there will be a download link for that report, and it's only a 1-page, or she might have reformatted it to look like it's 2 pages. But honest to God, it's just 5 points. And if you follow these 5 points, you will enhance your what is that? Oh, you will enhance. Sorry, I got distracted. I heard noise in the other room. So if you follow these 5 points, you will buy real estate. Why?
Because you'll know how to whack the suspects, and you won't get discouraged when you come across them.
Right. So the number one thing that I was talking about was that if you now let me go over the 4 points again, and then we'll get off this. So what I had to do is I had to find motivated sellers to talk to. Mm-hmm. So how do you find motivated sellers?
You get through the unmotivated sellers.
That's right.
You get through
waste
them
them quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you have to learn this. It took me a while to figure this out because things that I do in my life, are good for everybody. The usual stuff I do. So it's not like, well, he doesn't need it. No, you need water. You need, it's, and you want to help everybody. But in this case, it's not like everybody should do this or everybody will. So you just get past that. And when you find the person that you really fit with, that you can help, that needs you, you know it.
Exactly.
So just keep going until you find it. You'll blow your mind. You'll go, and I've heard them. They say yes to everything. I can really feel them now. Just, they're there. Find them.
Yeah.
Get through the other guys.
Absolutely.
Don't waste your own time.
Just like
break your own heart.
in life.
And 95% of them or more will be suspects.
It's like dating.
That's what I just said.
Oh, boy.
I said it's like dating or finding a job or...
You just keep going through them.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you find the right one, you'll know.
Yeah, I've burned through thousands. One of these...
Thousands? Oh, Naomi.
that doesn't mean
Jobs
I'm
or
kissing
dates?
thousands.
Jobs or dates?
That doesn't mean I'm kissing thousands, she
It's
said.
you just have a conversation and then,
Nope.
Pete, you bring out the best in us, I tell you.
Nope.
It's my job, Bill. Mix
Moving
it up.
right along.
Moving right along. So I was actually going to say something, and I totally lost it after that.
Probably safer, Bill.
Oh, my goodness.
We step in, we step out.
I got it back. All right, so that brings us to a very valuable piece of information, I think. What's the difference between a pro and an amateur?
An amateur. You want me to take this?
You do the amateur, I'll do the pro.
Oh.
I'm just sharing.
I like that. That's what we got to implement.
What?
Burn! The 70s show.
Go ahead. I'm getting in trouble this podcast. Go ahead, Emma.
You sure are.
Go ahead, Naomi.
A pro can just cut right through, and they aren't stressing out about this little thing and that little thing.
That is correct. So that's the symptom of the disease. But what's the disease? So what is a pro?
A pro is somebody who can find the important things to work on and shed all the unimportant things, weed through it, and get down to it.
This is actually what I said.
I said it more like he says it. He recognized it the way I said it.
That's
I said
because
it
you're
backward.
copycatting him.
That's right. He recognized it that way.
So a pro,
I understood you.
In my opinion, a pro knows senior datums, and that's what he operates off of. In other words, I have to make offers to buy houses. That's a senior datum. An amateur hangs on to all the datums, thinking that everything's important and tries to hang on to all of them. So like in real estate, when you're first learning real estate, you think that every single thing that's said is important. You got to remember all the deal structures. You got to memorize all the paperwork, and you got to know this, and you got to know that, and
you got to be ready.
You got to study for years.
Oh Lord.
To figure it out.
But you would never get there if you did that.
And that's what most people do, is they never get there.
Yeah. I never got there for a few decades.
And a guy like me comes along and for whatever reason never got there for decades.
No, I did. Not straight, but on and off like.
And then a guy like me comes along who's done hundreds of deals, and for whatever reason, I'm a dumbass. I like it simple, and that's how I operate. It's just my modus operandi. I like it simple because I won't remember it. I can't remember it. I don't want to remember it.
You're contradicting yourself. The definition of genius is making complex simple. But you're calling it a dumbass.
Yeah, well, it's easier to go there. I don't want to do it the other way.
You don't want to say you're a genius?
I'm not genius.
Okay.
But that's okay. I get it. You are right. That is very true. And to me, genius or intelligence is the ability to observe. If you can observe and see it for what it is and not put anything else on it, that's genius.
There's another aspect of intelligence. It's being able to spot the difference in things. Like if you think all people are the same, or all doctors are the same, or all this, right?
You're right, Peter. Noticing differences.
It's differences. And you have to get the difference when you're talking to people on the phone.
Right.
Yep.
That's a suspect. That's a prospect. You have to be able to see the difference.
And to emotionally remove yourself so that it's kind of like, oh, that's a personal insult to me. They said, no, not at all. You have to emotionally remove yourself.
It's more like, oh, good, I can't help that person.
Moving right along.
Find somebody I can help.
Just like dating. Okay, I can't be that for that. Moving right along.
So when I'm proposing to America this morning, and I've done it before, Yeah, just America. I'm not ready for the rest of it. What I'm proposing to America is that what Peter's saying is extremely correct, because in the real estate industry, it's the realtor or the realtor. Mm. And what I'm proposing is it not be that way, is it be a realtor and it be us. Mm-hmm. And I haven't named that yet. I'm looking. I'm waiting. So if anybody's listening to this podcast and you have any idea,
we're having a game. We're having a contest for the best.
Actually, if I actually pick, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the stakes high. Yeah. Well, I haven't done it yet, but I named that my new course, which is the no money, how to make money, how to buy
real estate with
no money.
No money.
With no loan.
With no loan.
Wow, did we mangle that up?
How to buy real estate without a loan.
Thank you. I really mangled that up. If somebody actually gives me the word, let me get this out. Let me think about it for a second.
Are you going to give him a deal?
Mm-hmm.
Like a really smoking hot deal? How good of a deal?
So Max is born.
Yeah.
And I've been promoting on my email list and everywhere else that my course is going to go from $297 to $497. So by this time tomorrow by the end of the weekend, I will go in and change the price of the course. So I'm going to give you the last chance, which doesn't matter because by the time this podcast airs, it'll be Monday and the price will be up anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Unless you're listening right now.
Unless you're on Facebook listening right now. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Tell your friends quickly.
So you can go get the course for $297, and it's an amazing course. It shows you everything that we're talking about today, how you can buy and sell real estate without a realtor.
And it's so cleanly laid out, step by step, with documents, with the paperwork. Oh, God.
Yes, thank you.
True.
If somebody emails me at info@flippinghouses.club with a word that describes what we do, just like realtors describe what real estate how to buy and sell real estate, I will give you my course for free.
That's a red hot, smoking red-haired deal.
Yep.
Now, I like what you said earlier today, which would lead to like knowing what to call this. You made a big differentiation between the realtor helping, well, I don't want to say it the wrong way, but the realtor working with typical home buyers and sellers and all that, but this being more focused to investors helping homeowners and home buyers.
Yeah,
like
so it's not investors.
It's a little bit different.
It's not investors. It's consultants. The difference is a realtor may not have ever bought a house before, and they're advising the people how to buy houses. Mm-hmm. The difference with us is you're going to deal with somebody that has bought and sold multiple houses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're there helping you because they have done it. It's kind of like the difference between a professor in a college. You know, what do they say? If you can't do it, teach it.
Oh,
teach it.
Yeah, geez. Yeah.
And a guy that, you know, like let's just take automotive. You know, when you go to usually, and I'm being very harsh here, but usually when you go to an automotive school, the guy that's teaching it wasn't always a good mechanic. As opposed to the guy that's in the trenches every day that fixes cars, that barely had a 5th grade education, and he's got broken English, and he's like this genius mechanic because his communication skills are not that good. He's not the teacher,
but he knows what to do.
But he's got that experience. Like, for example, you're let's just say you're out. You know, let's do it the old-fashioned way. You're laying underneath a car with a creeper. Creeper's the thing you roll around on, right? And the car's jacked up.
It creeps. It's not creepy.
Yeah,
it creeps.
It creeps, yeah. And you're under the car and you're working on the car, right? And you get out from underneath the car and you walk all the way to the garage, to your toolbox that's 50 feet away, right? And you come back and get on the creeper and you have the exact tool and the job gets finished. As opposed to you're on a creeper and you're not sure what size that bolt is. So instead of getting a 9/16 wrench, you get a 1/2-inch wrench. You get up, you roll out from underneath the creeper, you walk across the garage, you pick up a 1/2-inch wrench, you come back and you go back and you try to put it on a bolt and you're like, oh shit, it didn't work.
You have to go back.
Now you have
all
to
over
roll
again.
out, and that's the difference between a realtor and us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We roll out from underneath the creeper. We're going to go over. We're going to get the 9/16 wrench. We're going to come back. We're going to put it on there, and we're going to take the bolt out. because we've done it, we have experience, and we know how to advise you.
Well, let's be frank.
I want to be Bill.
And you be Naomi.
What's the
So
plan?
what'll happen is the realtor has one way to sell a house.
Right.
One way.
Yep.
Cash, the bank, so much percentage, so much commission, period. End of story.
Right.
If you don't fit their criteria, they walk away from you.
Right.
Or if they try to make it work, it won't work because it doesn't fit and it doesn't last long. But we have every way that you could possibly buy or sell a house.
Right.
Every
There's
way.
7.
Yeah. So
We have 7
we've got a
ways. They have
toolbox.
1 way.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Right.
So where do you go to find that?
Right.
I mean, my mechanic. Speaking of mechanics, watch me tie this in crazy. My mechanic used to be a broker. He doesn't do it much anymore. But I was talking about a lease. He goes, "Oh yeah, I did that too. I did a lease option. How much do you take for deposit?" He was doing it once. As a person, not because he was changing the and this was like, it could be 20, 30 years ago. So this isn't like some crazy Bill idea or anybody else. It's been around, but few people do it. But he was aware of that. It was kind of strange, but he knew that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been around.
It's been around longer than
Yeah, I didn't
the
invent any of
traditional.
this. All I'm doing
Yeah.
at this point is just organizing.
It's
I
been
have my
around.
own my unique way of doing it. What I brought to the industry is the ability to have 7 different ways to make an offer instead of just one, like you're saying. So a realtor comes to you and they say, "Hey, Pete," so let's just picture it this way. Pete has a house for sale. Pete wants to put a sink in his house. And he calls 3 contractors. And he gets 3 estimates, right?
Yeah.
Pete wants to sell his house. What does he do? He interviews 3 realtors. What did he just do? He called the same contractor. It's the same industry. It's not each realtor
They all are
have
a
the same
realtor.
offer.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, they might tell you different. They might tell you a different, market analysis of your
Right.
property, but they're all working with the same MLS.
Yeah.
They all are working with the same buyer's list. And somebody told me once, "Well, I want a realtor that has a real big buyer's list." I laughed and I said, "You realize they're all working with the same buyer's list. They put it on the MLS,
Right.
and then automatically they have access to thousands and thousands." But realtors will tell people, "Oh, I've got 2,000 buyers," or "I've got,"
Right.
anyhow, and
Wow.
it's sort of
bizarre.
comical.
So all I'm saying is let's just end off with this. Here's my crazy idea. And you put this idea in my head. I just expanded it. You planted the seed and I poured the water on it. Okay?
Good.
You drive down the road and you see a sign and it says such and such realtor. You drive a little bit further and there's another one that says such and such realtor. There is no contrast to that at all. So I'd like to buy a building and paint it yellow and put big black letters on it. We buy houses. And the only reason why I want to do that is to let people know that there is a different choice to be made. It's not just the realtor. There are other ways. Which, by the way, can we buy a house and do what a realtor does? We can use just a plain old option. Go to the seller, say you want cash, we can get you cash. Oh yeah, by the way, we aren't going to wait. We aren't going to have you sign a 6-month contract. We're going to have you sign a 3-month contract, and there is no fee. We could do exactly what the realtor does, except we're not charging a fee. And we can do it in 3 months, not 6 months.
And obviously, to the listeners, this contract is different than what a realtor uses, and that can be covered in the paperwork. It's completely legal.
Yep.
Extremely.
And you can find all that in the new course, How to Buy Real Estate Without a Loan,
Right.
which is at flippinghouses.club flippinghouses4rookies.com.
Correct.
Yes, flippinghouses4rookies.com. How'd we do today?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I think so.
How'd you do today?
I good.
Your first show as a grandfather.
I don't remember what is that? Oh, thank you. So I don't know what time we started because the clock's not working yet. So
I think we're like an hour and 8
We're an
minutes.
hour and...
hour and 8 minutes. Okay, good. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Pete, you looked at the thing, you cheater.
What?
You said, "Well, I think we're an hour and 8 minutes in."
I just watched that before. I can't see that one.
Oh, okay.
I think that's working, but it's just like 2 hours behind now.
But
All
it
right,
is.
good.
Yeah, it's an hour and 9 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to babble off a couple URLs and we're going to get out of here. We're actually going to leave this show and then we go over into how to find deals. We have a Facebook close page, and we leave the podcast and we do a post show over there for about a half an hour. We answer questions. And actually, we used to call it Coaching 101. It's not really Coaching 101, but it is. If you have a deal or if you have questions, you can go in there.
Yeah, bring it on.
And we bring it on, and we do that. So here they are. So to watch the podcast, if you're on Facebook, you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/podcast. Please jump over there. There's a link there to give us a review. We've got a bunch of reviews. We've been doing really good lately. Because of the reviews, we've managed to change the format of the show. So thank you for the feedback.
Yes.
I love it. We read it. I absolutely love it. Especially if you like the way the show has been running lately. Like we'll give you more information. It's more structured. I actually print things, and we actually have, instead of just winging it, we actually have plans and doing it correctly. So if you like that, that's great. So that's flippinghousesforrookies.com/podcast, and there's a link there to give us a review. Also, there's only a couple posts there, but we've started blogging, so you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/blog. And there's going to be all kinds of things on there. We're going to have giveaways and all kinds of stuff there once we get going. And if you want to find the house, find the house. Damn, that's what I want to do today is find the house. If you want to find the course that we're talking about, that's new, that is going to go up in price in the next couple days, you can catch it at the $297 price instead of the $497 price. That's at flippinghousesforrookies.com/buy without a loan. Nice job, Emma. flippinghousesforrookies.com, buy without a loan. Okay. And then I think that's it. Next week, I think what we're going to talk about is, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're going to talk about actually doing a checklist, a mini checklist, like I did at the meetup last night, on how you can actually find some of these deals without a realtor and using the conventional system, and how you can go about talking about them with people, and how to actually make some offers. I kind of like really, not dumbed it down, but I made it real simple, that you can at least get an offer. Now, you're not going to get every deal like I do, but you could at least get started and start making a few bucks.
Get familiar with it.
Yeah, the plan is to get you to make $3,000, $5,000, or $10,000 a month, at least every other month, so you can start supplementing your income and start controlling your life again. So that's today's podcast, episode number 90. I'm not going to recap how we started, because I think we definitely showed that the real estate industry is a bit of an organized system. Okay?
Yes.
Thanks for being with us. Catch you next week.
Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.